Righty-ho, so we'll kick off. We've got, I'm just getting to the thing where I've got your title so that I know what to call you. We have Alan Oliver, Business Development Director of EMEA, and afterwards we have Anya Rice, who's Director of Book Sales, and she will talk about Rialto. And we had a Rialto question at the end of the last session, so we'll ask it at the end of this one. Righty-ho.
I can't see you though, Alan. Are you coming on camera?
I can't, Stephen. It says that the host has stopped it.
You see, I'm too busy playing God over here right now. I think you should be able to now.
Okay.
Yeah, there you are.
There I am. Yeah, so Alex, do you just want me to answer the question? You don't need to read it, I guess, no?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes.
Okay, so first of all, let me just say good afternoon to everybody. It's really nice to be here. It would be much nicer to be together, but obviously we can't at this time. So it's great to see that so many of you have joined. And thank you for the questions as well. I'll try to answer them as best as I can just now. And we'll also provide written notes that I have as well. So the first one, you can see it there. I won't read all of it, but basically the only reason why we would remove open access collections is if the provider actually stopped supporting them. So if they don't continue to maintain the collections, the provider, then we can't maintain them either. So this was certainly the case with Elsevier. We have reached out to them, but they told us that they were not supporting separate lists for for open access content. So that's the only reason. We can't obviously maintain those lists ourselves, but if they are maintained, then we are happy to maintain them within the community zone as well. Just with that one as well, we did put some information into the 360 content corner for notes. They weren't in the SFX knowledge base anyway, those collections. So yeah, that's the answer to question one. So question two, not so much a question, but rather a request for Ex Libris, ProQuest, OCLC, and EBSCO to meet to discuss. So this is a question or a request that we've had many times before. It's not so easy. You know, these other companies, with the exception, of course, of ProQuest, are our competitors. Some of them are actively competing against us in places. It's not to say that we don't want to meet, but it's just not so easy to actually facilitate that. I think that the initiatives that are mentioned, like Plan M, for example, are good initiatives. They are things that we certainly encourage. I think that all of you will know that Ex Libris is a fan of developing and adhering to standards. So you know, this is another area I think that many of you will also know about the various initiatives that we've taken. So, for example, with the provider zone that was mentioned a couple of times already. We take the point. I spoke also with our Senior Vice President in charge of the Global Content Alliances but it's not so easy to arrange such a meeting for this purpose. Obviously, anything that you can do to facilitate that, then we're obviously interested to hear about that as well. So we take the point, but not so easy to facilitate. And the next question. So the simple answer to this question is yes, there is a minimum standard for community's own records. It is documented in a document that I will provide you with a link to later on. We actually share this, of course, with the metadata providers. So, you know, we adhere here to the KBART standard in this context. It's quite minimal because not all providers want to give their metadata. You will know that as well. We do try, if we can possibly do so, to enrich the metadata, but that depends on the provider being willing to provide it to us and being willing for us to put it into the community zone where, as you know, there are no real restrictions on its reuse. And some of them simply aren't, but there are documents, again, related to that, which I'll provide you with some links to. And, you know, if you have other collections that you're particularly interested in, as Jane suggested earlier, actually, the idea exchange, the content area of the idea exchange is the best way to try to move that forward. But there is a minimum standard, but in many ways we are limited by what the providers will actually give us. And I think, Alex, we already had an answer. I can't elaborate any more on this at this particular point. I know that Jane gave us some more information. I can certainly try to find more information, but I don't have any more information at this point.
Right, I think we will follow up and put it up on the EPUG website, maybe, the answer. So moving on to 5.
Now, I didn't see 5 in advance. Could we please have an update on whether EBSCO-GOBI content available for purchase is likely to ever be visible in Rialto? I'll let
apologies, it came in at the end of the last session with Martin, so it's very new.
Yeah, I'll let Anya take that because that's exactly her area. So I'll defer that one to Anya if I can.
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay. Wasn't aware that this one was coming in myself, but it is a common question that we have, so I'm happy to address it here. It's a little bit similar to the previous question concerning EBSCO as well. It's something that, you know, we hear it would be highly desirable. We do hear this from, as the Rialto community grows across UK and Ireland, it is a question that comes up fairly frequently. As you know, it's not just not visible, the EBSCO books content on Rialto. It's also Oasis, so it's not a Rialto-centric decision as such. It's a decision that was taken a number of years ago when it was actually at the start of the present Joint Consortium Framework Agreement, where EBSCO content was made unavailable for sale via ProQuest, and then conversely, that's why you in England under the Joint Consortium and EPUG agreements, you don't see eBook Central on Gobi. Now, there were commercial reasons behind that decision that were timely. You know, they were of the time back in 2015, 2016. We did reopen the conversations with EBSCO about pre-pandemic, so I'm going to say it was about 16, 18 months ago. We approached EBSCO and asked them if it was if they would be willing to discuss lighting the content back up on Rialto, on Oasis, and that conversation just didn't progress beyond there. So it's in limbo at the moment, something that we could periodically review with EBSCO, because of course we do have, as well as being competitors, we do have a very strong commercial reseller channels with them in other parts of the world. So it's something that we can periodically review. I'll certainly take that note here to bring that away. But the status is that when we reopened the conversation with them, or attempted to, it didn't progress beyond the initial request.
Thanks, Anya. Thank you.
So we think that's the end of the pre-published questions. Because we're not hosting a meeting as such, and we're running this as a webinar, and it's a long story which I won't go into again, people can't speak and ask questions, but what Stephen and I are trying to work out, if people do want to ask a question and be heard, we can promote you to a panelist. So if anyone has a burning question which they'd like to discuss openly, give us a shout now.
You can raise your hand or just post it in the Q&A if you'd like to ask.
So we'll give it a couple of minutes for you to think about it. Just to say why we're running it the way we're running it, we're using the Igloo account, and we've got a max of 100 people for a meeting. Because we had about 190 registrations, we had to use a webinar. It's lessons learned, and we do want to look into how we run one, if we do run one in this way again, because the point was made earlier about not knowing who else is in the meeting, and it's a very valid point. So thanks for raising that. And Alan, what have you got written behind you? I can't see it. Here. Oh, okay.
Actually, Alex, I'm refreshing that banner. So if you want this one, then I can probably arrange it. Would you like it? The good thing is that you can move it into your bedroom at night, and then back to the living room in the morning.
That's vaguely scary.
So let me know if you want it, or if you don't, then somebody else can have it.
We'll auction it for charity. How about that?
That's absolutely fine. Yeah, let's do that.
Sorry, I've gone a flippant turn. Back to business. We have a question. So just to add to Alan's response about it not being easy to talk to major competitors about metadata sharing, that's why we do need SCONO, RLUK, a strategic body, to facilitate these talks and set up meetings. Something for EPUG to relay to the strategic leaders. The problem is the licenses for reuse of metadata, something that all metadata stakeholders need to take part in reviewing and redesigning. I think we could say that came from Jane. Jane is very knowledgeable in this area, as we know. So yeah, I think we would just say amen to that, really. Do you have anything you want to add as an answer, Anya? Or
I think that's right, actually. But yeah, it's certainly something that we can pick up in other areas as well. But if there was SCONO, RLUK, giving the same kind of pressure question to the others, then it might actually help us to make some progress. So it's a good point. Yeah.
Okey-doke. something for us to follow up. I'm not seeing any question raisers. So we can either finish early or finish early a bit for lunch.
Actually, Anya was going to talk about.
Sorry.
Sorry. So
Thank you. I'm so sorry. We don't have that because we don't have that on our
you don't know
agenda. Sorry about that, Anya. Yeah.
No problem. I'll try and get you an early lunchtime anyway. A couple of minutes. It's just a very quick update. So hi everybody. For those of you who I've not had the pleasure of meeting in person or virtually yet, my name is Anya. It's Anya Rice, and I'm the Regional Sales Director for ProQuest Books across UK, Ireland, Middle East, Africa, Europe, so that entire region. I actually was able to join for some of the earlier part of this meeting today. So I'm on offers team. So I was on this session for offers introduction. So that's where I sit in the ProQuest organization, is within Offer Mazzari's team, and Offer referenced Natasha Edmonds. So Natasha Edmonds is in my team then. In turn, Natasha is the regional sales manager for UK and Ireland. So that's how we all, the pieces of the team jigsaw come together. So I'm here today in the capacity of speaking to Rialto and give you a brief update on what's been happening so far on the Rialto journey as we've rolled it out over the last couple of years, its uptake and where we plan to go to next with Rialto. I'll also, for those of you who are not familiar with Rialto, I'll also try and give you a brief introduction to what it aims to do and where we are on that journey together. So I'll just share my screen because I have a few visuals to share with you. Okay, I'm getting a message here about advanced sharing options. Which is not letting me share, unfortunately. I don't know if I need permissions. It's not the end of the world if I can't share, because I can bring you through a verbal update. The slides, as I said, are just...
You might need to share your whole desktop.
I see the option to share screen at the bottom, but not...
I think you should have the permissions.
When I click on that,
Sorry. On you go.
I'm talking over you. Sorry, you go ahead.
If you click on that wee green share screen, does it come up? Choose what to share. There's an entire screen, a window, or a Chrome tab. No. Can you help Stephen at all? Are you going through the client rather than the web? That's the only other.
I'm on the client. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, if you've got the button, it should actually allow you to do it. Yeah, you've got the co-host permissions.
What does it say?
It says, it brings up a box saying advanced sharing options. And then it has a toggle button on all panelists for who can share, all panelists, and who can start sharing when somebody else is sharing. And it's toggled to only host there. Why don't I just give a verbal update rather
I think actually there's a little arrow next to there's a tiny arrow next to above the N. If you click the big middle part of the button, it should allow you to do it.
Oh, I think yes, I think that.
Yeah, I've just realized where you were there.
Okay, I was on the arrow. Okay, so that seems to have done something, and it would be great if Stephen
we can
let me know if that's now come on the screen. Super. Okay, first obstacle. Let me just move this down here. So great. Okay. All right. So as I said there, I'm going to give a very brief explanation of what Rialto is and, you know, where it brings workflow advantages for the acquisition community, the books acquisition community. So it is an acquisition platform in the same way, you know, that the likes of the previous generation of acquisition platforms such as Oasis, which we continue to support and you know, are committed to doing so into the future for those of you who are on the Oasis platform or, you know, are intending to stay there in some way, shape or form. But what we've done with Rialto, we've brought it very much number of steps forward from that, you know, as I said, previous generation of acquisition platform. And the big difference with Rialto is that it actually, and I can't emphasize this enough, it's integrated within Alma. So if you think of it as a module of Alma, and all the advantages that brings over and beyond working in a system like Oasis. With Oasis, of course, you're able to transfer via EDI or API your data on a regular basis to Alma. But this is, again, several steps forward in that you're actually working within the Alma system when you are selecting and acquiring books on Rialto. So looking then at the light blue at the bottom, if we start at the bottom of the pie chart there, that's just reiterating that point that it's in the Ex Libris Higher Ed Cloud Platform. So what does that mean? That means that you don't have to do those EDI or API transfers between the systems. Everything is just held in one system. And when you key in an order on Rialto to buy a book, be that print, be that ebook, etc., that is automatically, that data is automatically populated in Alma. If you have Leganto, there's live interactions between those systems and Primo as well. So cuts out lots of rekeying, lots of waiting for data transfers. And with rekeying, as we know, there's always not just time spent on that, and so time that can be saved in Rialto, but also open to manual error, to human error as well with manual rekeying. So eliminating all of those possible missteps in the acquisition platform and bringing it all into Alma. So then going up into the dark blue section there, just briefly, we mentioned the EBSCO situation there a moment ago. So leaving that to one side, when you're in Rialto, you are able to buy books, not just from the ProQuest eBook Central platform, but also from multiple publisher direct platforms. So the latest one we've had is JSTOR. That's in there as well. So that aggregated ebook platform, as well as lots of the bigger and smaller publishers from Taylor & Francis through Sage, through Bloomsbury, through Brill, through IGI. So one marketplace for multiple platforms, ebook or print. And then into the pink area there, part of where Rialto brings you as well on your acquisition journey is recommendations. So based upon your previous purchases, your holdings that are in Rialto, and your, depending on what role you play in the library, be that a subject librarian, a selector, or a ratifier, you know, an approver at that, depending on your settings in Rialto, it will, with machine learning, it will know what kind of subject areas, what kind of formats that you're interested in, and it will bring through recommendations to you at point of purchase. So yes, speaking there of the different levels of permissions in Rialto, the advantage for selectors, the subject specialists or liaison librarian is that efficiency that Rialto can bring. Everything is updated in Alma and all of the other systems in real time, and it's just bringing time savings, but those keystrokes as well. For those 25 or thereabouts UK libraries who are on Rialto at this point in time, they frequently tell us that estimates are that it saves about 50% in keystrokes in the acquisition process compared to other systems such as Oasis. Shared lists are there as well, so you're able to see what your colleagues have in their cart or in their lists before you go ahead and press the acquisition button, see what others are doing for how they're treating that particular book. And as I said, it's very customizable depending on your role in the library. At the acquisitions level, it brings all of those efficiencies of working within the single system, the ability to collaborate around seeing what each of the subject or liaison librarians have in their budgets in real time. So eliminating the possibility of overspending that comes about with those spreadsheets that I know many of you are still using, or post-it notes, or whatever you're using to track the budgets and the fund codes, that everything is together in Rialto. And just a really nice experience in terms of showing you the formats available, what your holdings are already in your library, what the usage for those holdings are. So informing at all steps of the Rialto journey, the decision that you can make around the number of licenses that you want to buy, for instance, or the number of copies that you want to buy in the print world. I want to really make the point here that it's a very, very easy onboarding with Rialto. It starts with 2 forms that should take about 2 hours to fill in, and then the rule of 2, I suppose, 2 forms, 2 hours, and you can be up and running within 2 weeks. Especially with ebook ordering, that is something that there's a team, an implementation team that do all of the heavy lifting. There's the customer success management team as well that will work with you on configurations. So a really easy lift, that can have you up migrated across from whatever acquisition process platform you're using now across to Rialto within a couple of weeks. And then, just because I know we're coming up on the half hour and I did promise to finish a little bit early, even if I just give you a minute back, I'll just highlight here that we do have, we're about 2.5 years on down the road on our Rialto journey, but we do have a lot of enhancements coming. We do have a very rich roadmap for the rest of 21 into 22 that bring further workflow benefits and task efficiencies. That's in the blue area there. I'm bringing in constant new platforms and models. So we're working, we've just, as I said, launched JSTOR. We're looking to do JSTOR DDA. We're looking to do EBA with the likes of Taylor and Francis, run those via Rialto. And the next publisher that we're adding on a title by title basis is Gale. So that's a very quick update on Rialto, where we are. As I said, we've got about 25 libraries in the UK signed for Rialto and in various stages of transition, fully transitioned across or transitioning across. So the team and I, that's myself, Tash Edmonds, and the book sales specialists, are very happy to help you if you have any further queries on that, if you're curious to look at what it might look like for your library to transition across to Rialto. Thank you very much. Now, I wasn't on the earlier session where I believe there was a question. I think somebody mentioned there was a Rialto question. I didn't hear that at the time, so I'd be happy to take it now. And
okay, so let's just click down. It was. Have we done this one, Stephen? Can you remind me? Is for the Rialto session, could we please have an update on whether EBSCO-GOBI content available for purchase is likely to ever be visible in Rialto?
That was question 5.
So I think that one, yeah. Okay, so we have another new one in the chat this time. Under the SUPC tender, we have selected more than one supplier. Rialto only enables us to use ProQuest. Are there any plans to add other vendors within Rialto?
So that's in a similar vein to that the additional question there. It's, well, absolutely. We are interested in adding more vendors there as well. The addition of JSTOR is significant because they're the first, let's call it, aggregated platform. In addition to ProQuest as well, the other platforms are all primary publishers. So JSTOR is moving in that direction of other aggregators, and you know, we continue to remain open-minded about adding in. Happy to take any suggestions. You know, I've heard the EBSCO suggestion, and we'll take that away. But anything else that you'd like to see in there, I'm happy to bring the case forward to colleagues in books.
Excellent. Do we have any more questions quickly? Yep. I should say that we at Edinburgh were early adopters, so if anyone has any questions about using Rialto, I'm sure our team, Elise's team here, may be able to answer any, or if you want to contact us. If there's no more questions, I think we might be ready to break for lunch. Thank you, Anya.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Nice to see you.
We'll see everyone to come back at 1 o'clock.